Open up with Kelly Kulick taking on Liz Johnson, but first let's get it over to Kimberly, who's with a special guest, the president of the World 10-Pin Bowling Association.
Kevin, what does the WTBA do for the sport of bowling?
The World 10-Pin Bowling Association is the internationally recognized governing body for our sport by the International Olympic Committee. We have world championships, we're responsible for them, and we also manage the World Bowling Tour.
And what does the season look like for the World Bowling Tour this year?
Well, I'm happy to say that we've expanded the World Bowling Tour. We've added events in Qatar, in Indonesia. We've added our World Championships, which is in Las Vegas next year. In conjunction with our great partners, the PBA, I think that the future is unlimited.
It looks great to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, for player introductions, let's bring in once again Mike J.
The number 3 qualifier is an 8-time member of Team USA from Cheektowaga, New York, Liz Johnson. The number 2 player is an 8-time member of Team USA, first woman to win a PBA Tour title at the 2010 PBA Tournament of Champions from Union, New Jersey, Kelly Kulick. The top qualifier owns 2 PBA regional titles, 3-time Team USA member from Lake Forest, California, Missy Parkin.
Well, as if the competition isn't making her day tough enough, Liz Johnson has a fresh injury to deal with, a broken left toe.
I always have like 10, 20 bowling balls in my car. And this one time I have one bowling ball in my car, and it was in a little box, and the box was broken, of course. And I opened the car door, the driver's side behind my door, and the ball fell out so fast and just fell right on my toe. And in 30 years of bowling, I've never had a ball fall on my foot or come that close, and that was the one time. And of course I had to drive another 30 minutes after that, and it was just in pain, and I had to go bowl a tournament that night and the next morning. So I did that, and then finally got it x-rayed a couple days later, and it was broken. But you know, you just take it a day at a time, and you know, just try to be tough about it.
Liz Johnson with a broken toe, Randy.
I talked to her right before the start of this match. I said, Liz, how's that toe feeling? She says, you know, it's okay. Probably a little adrenaline going on right now.
So Liz Johnson opening up the Bear World Bowling Tour Finals. The women in action. First ball thrown. She's got a 9 count. Liz Johnson, 38 years old, from Cheektowaga, New York. First woman ever to make televised finals of a PBA event.
She actually beat Wes Malott, only to lose to Tommy Jones.
She cleans up the 7-pin to open with a spare here. Tough early in a match this big. A little nerves going through the body, I imagine.
Always. You know, the first couple of shots, you're just trying to keep from throwing up on your shoes, and you got to remember to breathe, and you just got to kind of work your way through the nerves early on.
Kelly Kulick now 35 years old from Union, New Jersey, and she gets them all to open up. So 2 bowling pioneers here, as we mentioned. Kulick, the first woman to earn a PBA Tour exemption. She won the 2010 PBA Tournament of Champions. Johnson, the first woman to make TV finals of a PBA Tour event and win a PBA Regional Tour event. And so this is a match of history makers. Kulick now on the left lane. Woo. Brooklyn doesn't come through for her.
I didn't think Kelly would like this shorter pattern, and you can see what happens on the miss. It's going to go dead left. This short pattern, her style, to me, just doesn't match up well. However, I do think that it matches up very well for Liz Johnson. and Missy Parkin.
So Kulik now trying to clean up.
Wasn't expecting that.
And the reason why I say that, Lon, is Liz goes much straighter, much more ball speed. The same with Missy Parkin. Kelly Kulik has got a lot more hand, slower ball speed. She's got to open this pattern up a lot more than the other two players. And I think it's just better the straighter you go on this shorter oil pattern, the closer you can stay to the outside part of the lane, the better.
Johnson now, 11 titles on the WBA. And she comes back with a strike in the second frame. That's what Liz Johnson is working with today.
If you throw the IQ, if it makes you smarter.
Johnson doubles after opening with a spare. She's gone strike, strike.
And there you can see the ideal ball reaction for this shorter pattern and the style of Liz Johnson. It's much more straight, straighter trajectory through the front part of the lane, more ball speed, less rev rate, and therefore she's able to hold that ball into the pocket real consistently.
Kulik now working on a spare. It's another strike. She likes that lane. Well, as we mentioned, Kelly Kulik is not only a groundbreaking pioneer in bowling, but in all of sports as well. Her victory in the 2010 Tournament of Champions put her in pretty elite company, joining the likes of Billie Jean King and Danica Patrick as one of the few women in professional sports who have beaten men on a level playing field. Here at the 2010 Tournament of Champions, Kelly defeated Chris Barnes in the finale to be crowned the first woman ever to win a PBA title and a major championship to boot. It would be the victory of a lifetime for many, but Kelly is not satisfied. She wants to do it again.
I watch a lot of the men who've had success over the last 3 to 5 years, Fagan, O'Neill, Sean Rash, Belmonte. They've kind of exploded and they've stayed there. I've had great championship wins at the top, but I've also fallen again because I am bowling against the men. And I'm frustrated, I'm confused. I need a little bit more help than what I've been getting. I want to be, maybe not winning, a PBA title again, but I want to be a contender for a title. I want that opportunity to be on the show and showcase my skills and talents. I want to be, I know what it felt like. I can feel the blood rushing through my veins now as I talk about the wins that I've had, and I want that again.
Kelly's a 5-time major champion winner. Liz Johnson has won 11 titles on the PWBA Tour, including a 1996 Women's U.S. Open. So both of them with major credentials.
Kelly Kulik says she found her passion as a 5th grader. She knew she wanted to be a pro bowler. On that left lane. Says hook, it did, but still leaves the 7-pin.
She looks like she has a little more early hook on that left lane, and that was evident in the first shot she threw when it went Brooklyn. That ball there, she gets it through the front part of the lane into the right zone, but it just lost a little energy when it got back to the pocket.
So Kulik still trying to solve that left lane. Another 9 spare for Kulik. So Liz Johnson now. Any signs of a problem that you've noticed early on with that broken foot from Liz Johnson, Randy?
Not yet. Broken toe, big toe, left sliding foot's going to take a lot of pressure, but she's hit the pocket first 3 shots.
And she hits it again.
Straighter is greater on a shorter pattern. Very similar to Cheetah, except it's much flatter in terms of the oil ratio across the lane.
So Johnson with that Turkey at 2, 3, and 4 with a 20-pin advantage right now, beginning the 5th. And Johnson does it again with the 4-bagger.
Big advantage for her on this oil pattern with her ball speed. This is in Liz Johnson's wheelhouse.
Johnson, the 2-time Women's U.S. Open champion, now hands it over to the 3-time U.S. Women's Open champion, Kelly Kulick. Kulick has gone strike, spare so far. Strikes coming on this right lane, and there she does it again.
I like this one. I like the right lane a lot. See if we can get the left.
And figured out quick. She's 30 pins down right now, halfway through this match, and she needs to start throwing strikes together.
So now on that troublesome left lane, Kelly Kulick.
Only troublesome for her.
There we go.
She's found the groove there on the left lane. Kelly Kulick with the strike. Now just 20 pins down to Liz Johnson here at the World Bowling Tour Women's Finals. Come on back to Las Vegas after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada. Lon McCarron with Randy Peterson. The World Bowling Tour Finals. The women's preliminary match on the lane right now. Kelly Kulick and Liz Johnson. Johnson with an early 20-pin advantage on Kulick. Winner of this match will roll a championship match against Missy Parkin. Johnson now working with a broken foot and working on a 4-bagger. And there it is, 5 in a row for Johnson, who broke that toe just a week ago, and she really is working it very well, Randy.
Watch the eyes. She looks very short on the approach. The theory behind that is the closer your target is to you, the easier it is to hit. Also, the farther down the lane you look, tends to create a little bit more ball speed. Liz doesn't have that issue. She wants to get the ball off her hand real quick and get it onto the floor and rolling as soon as possible. Watch the eyes again.
Johnson looking for 6 in a row. Doesn't get it there on that left lane. She leaves 2 behind.
Doesn't look like she's having any issues with that toe. She's hitting the foul line pretty solid, but this ball just didn't have enough to get back up to the pocket, leaving the 2-4 pretty easy spare.
Johnson clean up on the left side, and she does indeed with the spare. So a little bit of a door opening for Kelly Kulick.
Wonder how many ibuprofen Liz Johnson took this morning. A little adrenaline, some ibuprofen.
She's not feeling a thing.
Broken toe, what?
Now Kulick. She likes this lane. She still likes this lane.
Hang in there.
Kelly Kulick is in full uniform for this match, but not too long ago it was quite a different story when she posed nude for ESPN, the magazine.
ESPN Body Issue magazine came to me basically from having success winning the TSC in 2010. Somebody took notice and they asked me, you know, would I pose nude in the magazine? Done very gracefully, very athletically. And I said, you know, how often am I going to have the opportunity to pose nude? Hugh Hefner's not going to call up and ask me anytime soon. So it took about all of 3.5, 4 hours just posing in bikini with the bowling ball itself, trying to find the right angle, right poses. And then from there, I would just ungown and undress and get back in that position. The only thing I wish I drilled like a 10-pound bowling ball to hold instead of an actual 15-pound bowling ball, because the next 4 days my legs were killing me.
Kulik now working on a turkey here in this left lane. And there's the four-bagger as Kulik begins to storm back.
And all of a sudden, Kelly Kulik's cut the deficit to 8 pins. She's figured out the left lane. She's locked in on the right lane, and all of a sudden we have a match. 2 major championship winners going at it head-to-head. Doesn't get any better than this.
Johnson with 5 in a row earlier. Kulik now working on 4 in a row. There's Liz Johnson once again in that right lane, and she comes back after that spare to get them all.
Take a look to see what she does on this left lane after going light. As you can see the score, 8 pins. Liz Johnson can strike out to shoot 268. Kelly Kulik can strike out to shoot 260. Big strike coming up here. The right lane looks like the better of the 2 lanes. Liz Johnson gets to finish on the right lane.
Johnson trying to put more space between herself and Kulik, and she does just that.
Now we call that shot there mungus, as in humongous. Because that sets up the 10th frame for her, so no matter what Kelly Kulik does, Liz Johnson can't be shut out.
And she knows just how big that was, Randy. It's all in her hands now. Kulik working on 4 strikes in a row in her favorite right lane, and there is 5.
Way to get the hill.
So keeping the heat on Johnson.
So right now the objective is to make Liz Johnson perform in the 10th frame, and the only way that Kelly Kulik can do that is by striking out here in the 10th frame. Liz Johnson's in the 240s, Kelly Kulik's in the 230s. This next strike pretty much get Kelly Kulik in the lead.
2 women who know how to handle pressure of the big stage. Kulik needs to come through here. This lane has been tough for her.
Yeah!
She got him when she needed it most.
And she just took the lead.
That face of determination on Kelly Kulik.
What a great shot. 2 of the greatest women professional bowlers in the history of the sport. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned fist fight going on right here. No matter what Kelly Kulik does, though, remember, she can't shut out Liz Johnson.
Trying to put maximum pressure on her opponent. Liz Johnson now on this left lane. She said she had solved.
Up the hill. Yeah!
And it appears she
Come
has.
on, make it work. Make it work.
1 more to go for Kelly Kulik.
That's a great shot. Now she just forced Liz Johnson to throw a double in the 10th frame.
One of the benefits of doing that magazine shoot, she said, was to get into extra better shape. And she's continued that regimen to now. So perhaps in the best shape of her career, Kelly Kulik, to put maximum hurt on Liz Johnson. And she does just that. And now it's up to Liz Johnson.
What a great comeback. She figured out the enigma of the left lane for her. Came back and threw the last 2, 4, 6, 8 strikes in a row to shoot 260. Now Liz Johnson needs a double and 3 to advance to the title match against Missy Parkin.
Big moment for Johnson. Down 12. She is doing the job she came to do.
Well, no big surprise there. She just stepped up and went high flush with the first shot in the 10th frame. It's got to have the next one. Has to have this next shot.
Kulik sits helplessly nearby. She has done all she could.
You shoot 260 on television. Usually good enough to win, and I'd take that score anytime. However, this time it may not be enough. Liz Johnson has to strike on this ball.
By and large, for the match right here.
Yeah!
And Johnson
Right here,
comes
baby.
through in the tightest of moments.
That's good stuff. Boy, if you're a bowling
Goodness.
fan, you got to love a match like this. It came down to the 10th frame. Kelly Kulick did everything she could to put the pressure on Liz Johnson, and Liz Johnson steps up like a true champion. Throws 2 big strikes here in the 10th frame now. Stay behind the foul line, get 3 pins, and move on to the title match.
Liz Johnson now just needs 3 on this ball to secure this match and a spot in the finals. Does she get the 10? No, she'll take 9.
Great ball, Kelly. Great ball. Good luck.
Kulick took all the pressure and put it on Liz Johnson, and Liz Johnson handled it just well. 267 to 260 over Kelly Kulick. Johnson moves into the finals. She will take on Missy Parkin. Missy Parkin keeping warm on one of the sideline lanes here, getting ready to bowl for this championship. The Bear World Bowling Tour Finals will have the women's championship match right after this.